Bruce Wayne with another one of my amazing stories. So the last time I told you that I got a scholarship to go overseas to England and Scotland. But before I get into that story, I just want to digress a little bit and to talk a little bit more about men and, when we're younger and, basically dating and going to the clubs and meeting a girlfriend. And I think I also told you the story before that it seems like, that it's important that these young kids, continue to, dress up and when they go out and, dress respectable. Because I remember I told you that I went to Walmart and I saw this kid in Walmart and he looked like he rolled out of bed, his hair was not combed, looked like he didn't brush his teeth, he was in his pajamas, and he just didn't give a shit about how he looked. And so one of the things I want to point out is that this is just my own personal philosophy, but I believe that men should hunt. And I know women, you may say, oh my God, what a sexist thing. We're just not there to be sexualized and feel like some sort of object of someone's desire. That's not what I mean. I think if one can argue, I'm sure there's lots of different arguments, and I'm not going to get into the sociological thing of looking at a group of people and what that means. But what I'll say is I'm not an evolutionary biologist again, so I'm doing all the asterisks next to me. But here's what I think. I think that men would probably have been less likely to get out of the cave if it wasn't for women. Men probably would have been content in sitting in the cave, killing a wildebeest or some, antelope of that era. Okay, dragging it back to the cave, not showering, not brushing their teeth, not building a better house, and be completely content and never really evolve.
Gross!
But as like other animals in nature, if you notice that all the other birds and animals, they tend to fluff their feathers up. Some birds, the male animals are competing and jockeying for position, for dominance, etc. And I think in that sense, it's important that men also are allowed to hunt, essentially, to compete for the prize. The prize is you ladies. Yes, we compete for that. And in the process of doing that, I can picture it back then as caveman, that one caveman had a cave and it was damp and dark and musty and cold. And then another guy next door, killed some sort of a antelope and dragged it back the fur to his cave. And now he had a warmer cave over there. And so the woman is like, oh, that guy over there got a warmer cave. And so she went over to that other warmer cave. So the caveman goes, oh, well, screw that. So he goes and he kill a bigger animal and, drag, and then she goes back over in that direction. I'm not saying that women are materialistic, but I'm just saying that women are the reason why a lot of men, go out and make something of themselves. And so you can see, one guy has fire and then the other one, goes, and as you start looking at evolution, you see, okay, well, I have a house, I have a bigger house, I got a car, I got a better car, I got a boat. And so essentially you see men evolving out of the cave. In this era that we live in right now, the thing that scares me a lot is that I was reading this one thing online, and they say you should never read anything on the internet. And I was talking to a number of young kids, and they were saying to me that the new thing now is that the boys don't approach the girl. Or when you go to the club, you don't approach the girl. You just sit at the bar and you drink and you wait for the girl to approach you, because the reason why you do it is because you're terrified that you could, just coming over to say hello or buying her a drink or, try to make an approach in some way might be considered to be, sexualized and sexual harassment, the whole legal stuff that goes along with that and the whole unacceptable thing and degrading women, etc. So I'm not for any of those things. I'm not for degrading women. I'm not for sexualizing women. I'm not for those negative things. But within the context of those things, men and women have got to get together, because otherwise, if we don't get together, then guess what? There's no more human beings, because we have to reproduce and among many other things and build a community, etc. So I was saying to him, I said, so what do you mean? you just sit there and the girl come over to you to pick you up. He's like, yeah. I'm like, boy, that's boring. I said, that sort of reminds me of a lion in the jungle, a male lion in the jungle. And instead of him chasing the antelope, he just sits there and waits for the antelope to come over and lay on his plate. Now, what do you think that translation is? Now I see these boys and they're sitting at home, they're playing video games, they're not showering, they're unkept, they probably don't brush their teeth, they probably don't even hardly roll out of bed. When they want to get laid, they just swipe left on their phone, they meet some girl for some casual sex, and they go back to being caveman playing on their video games. So essentially, they're de-evolving. So it's important that we allow men to find a way to be able to pursue the prize. Ladies, to be able to find a suitable mate, to be able to learn the skill sets to treat a lady very well. Whatever that is for this particular generation, you guys need to figure that out. But you can't be scared of the opposite sex because you need each other in order to build a community, build a family, etc. So that's my 2 cents on that front. And that was part of the motivator that got me to get a job, to when I had to go to the club, buy better clothes, to better myself, to go to school, etc. So I'm just saying that this may be something you may want to consider for your sons or young men, or for ladies to consider. So you should expect more from your guy, is what I'm saying.